We grow up thinking happiness is a place we arrive at one day when we've ticked all the boxes: the right job, the right home, the right relationships, the right number in the bank account. We imagine it like a final stop on a train line, a point in the future where everything is calm, certain, and safe. But life has a way of reminding us that there is no perfect station waiting for us. Storms don't book appointments, losses don't ask for permission, and the road to joy is never a straight line. If we wait for life to be flawless before allowing ourselves to be happy, we'll spend our whole lives waiting. Happiness is not the trophy you win at the end of the race. It's the decision you make in the middle of the run, even when you're tired, even when the finish line feels far away. It's a muscle you flex in ordinary moments, taking a deep breath when anxiety knocks, smiling at a stranger when your own heart feels heavy, dancing in your kitchen, even when your problems are still sitting on the table. Choosing happiness in hard times is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about saying, yes, I see the pain. I feel the weight, but I will not let this moment steal every drop of joy I still have access to. You don't need to wait for the storms to pass. You can open an umbrella and still walk in the rain. And in that choice, right there in the middle of the mess, you discover something powerful. You don't have to find happiness, you can create it. When life gets heavy, it can make you feel like you've lost pieces of yourself, your energy, your hope, your spark. You start wondering if the person you used to be is gone forever. The laughter feels further away. The dreams feel unreachable, and the mirror doesn't just show your reflection. It shows your exhaustion. But here's the truth: hard times don't erase who you are. They don't take your worth, your kindness, or your capacity to love. Those things are not fragile decorations. They're the core of your being. They survive the storms even when you can't feel them. Think about it. Have you noticed how even in your most difficult moments, you still care about the people you love? You still hope for better days. You still get back up even when your knees are shaking. That's not weakness. That's proof that the good in you is stubborn. It refuses to disappear. Pain can make you forget your own strength, but it cannot destroy it. You are not less because you're struggling. You are more layered, more empathetic, more resilient. The cracks that life has left on you are not evidence of your failure. They are proof you've been tested and you're still here. So push yourself to see yourself clearly again. Remember that the person who once laughed without fear, who dreamed without limits, who loved with an open heart, that person is still living inside you. They may be buried under fatigue, grief, or uncertainty, but they are waiting for you to call them back into the light. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the good in you is never negotiable. It's permanent. With ourselves. When life feels overwhelming, our minds tell us the only solution is to fix everything before we can feel better. We imagine that joy must come from grand changes. A promotion, a big move, a perfect relationship, a miracle that sweeps away every problem. But here's the secret: joy doesn't just live in the big victories. More often, it's quietly hiding in the smallest corners of your day. A warm cup of tea on a chilly morning, the smell of rain hitting the pavement, a song that takes you back to a time when you felt free, the smile of a stranger that catches you off guard. These aren't small in the way we think. They are the lifelines that keep us afloat when everything else feels too heavy to carry. Small joys are not distractions from reality. They are proof that beauty still exists within reality, even when reality is hard. In the need to with ourselves, they're like little lanterns along a dark path. Individually, they might not light the whole way forward, but together, they guide you through. Here's the thing: when we train ourselves to notice these moments with ourselves, we start realizing how much goodness we overlook when we're lost in our worries. You may not be able to solve all your problems today, but you can pause long enough to taste your food, hear your favorite melody, or watch sunlight filter through the trees. And in doing that, you remind your heart that joy is still possible. Happiness happens during hard times is built brick by brick, smile by smile, moment by moment. The little things are not less than the big things. They're the foundation you stand on while you work toward the bigger picture. So when everything feels too big to handle, shrink your focus. Look for the tiny sparks, because those sparks, they're not small, they're the start of your fire. When you're hurting, it's tempting to shove the pain down and pretend it's not there. Maybe you tell yourself to be strong, keep going. 2, stay positive. But strength is not silence. In fact, the more we bury our pain, the heavier it becomes. Your pain deserves to be acknowledged. It deserves to be named, felt, and honored, because it's real. Pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make you brave. It makes you numb. And numbness robs you not only of your sorrow, but also of your capacity for joy. Here's the tricky part of while your pain needs a voice. It doesn't deserve the microphone forever. If we let it narrate every thought, every decision, every moment of our lives, it will drone out everything else. Gratitude, hope, connection, love. Pain is a truth, but it is not the truth. Think of it like a guest at your table. You can offer it a chair, listen to what it has to say, even learn from it. But you connect, you don't hand it the menu, you order for everyone and decide the conversation for the whole night. It has a place, but not the head of the table. Giving your pain a voice means journaling it, speaking it to someone safe, praying through it, or even just saying, or this hurts out loud to yourself. But then once it's been heard, you also make room for joy to speak with ourselves. You let gratitude have a turn. You allow hope to step in, because your pain may be part of your story right now, but it's not the whole book. You get to decide who holds the microphone in your life. And if you're going to push yourself toward happiness, you must choose to let joy, love, and resilience get their turn on stage. Somewhere along the way, many of us pick this unspoken rule egg, 8, I can't be happy until I have my life completely figured out. We think joy is reserved for the people whose homes are spotless, whose relationships are perfect, whose finances are stable, and whose emotions are always in check. But here's the truth, no one has it all together. Not really. Life isn't a neat checklist you can complete. It's a constantly shifting mix of victories and struggles, beauty and mess. And if you wait for the perfect moment to be happy, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Happiness is not about everything being in its place. It's about being able to find peace even when nothing is in its place. Surrender self. Some of the most joyful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who have the least problems. They're the ones who have learned to laugh, to hope, and to love in the middle of the chaos. You might be in debt, feeling lonely, or unsure about the future, but you can still notice the way your child's hand fits perfectly in yours or of ourselves, or how the smell of fresh bread makes you smile, or how a walk in the evening air somehow eases the weight in your chest. It's okay if your story is still unfolding. It's okay if there are chapters you're not proud of and pages you wish you could rewrite. Happiness doesn't require a flawless narrative. It only asks for your willingness to see the beauty in the messy, unfinished, imperfect reality you're living right now. The truth is, you don't have to fix your whole life before you deserve joy. You can carry both, your struggles in one hand and your happiness in the other. And that balance, that's not failure. That's grace. When life is hard, gratitude can feel like a hollow word. People might tell you to just be grateful, as if that erases the weight on your chest. And in those moments, gratitude can feel more like pressure than comfort. But true gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about noticing what is still good, even when much has gone wrong. Think of gratitude as a bridge, a steady path that leads you back to yourself when the storm has pulled you far away. In the chaos, you can forget the parts of you that are still loving, still hopeful. Gratitude is how you find them again. It doesn't have to be big. In fact, the smaller, the better. Waking up to see the sunlight peeking through your curtains, hearing a song that carries you back to a sweet memory, the taste of food you love, a text from someone who thought of you. These are not small. They are anchors. They keep you from drifting too far into despair. Gratitude doesn't erase your pain, but it changes the way you carry it. When you focus on even the tiniest moments of good, you shift your perspective with ourselves. You start to see that your life is not only defined by what is missing, it's also shaped by what is still here. A powerful practice is to write down 3 things each day that you're grateful for. Not to deny the hard things, but to balance them. To give equal space to light and shadow. Some days your list might be simple. I made it through today. I had something to eat. I got ourselves. I got to rest. And that's enough. Gratitude is not about ignoring the storm. It's about finding the shelter inside it. And each time you name something good, you take one more step across the bridge back to the steady, grounded, hopeful version of yourself. Life will never run out of reasons to test you. There will always be moments that feel too heavy, too uncertain, too unfair. But in every season, whether you are standing in the sun or walking through the rain, you hold a choice to let the weight pull you under or to keep reaching for joy, even with trembling hands. Pushing yourself to be happy when life is hard is not about denying your pain. It's about refusing to hand it your whole life. It's choosing to see beauty alongside the brokenness, to welcome light into the same room where shadows live. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel ready. But every time you choose to notice a small joy, every time you speak gratitude into the silence, every time you remind yourself that the good in you has survived, those are victories. And those victories matter. Happiness isn't a reward for getting life right. It's a daily decision to live fully, love deeply, and hope fiercely, even when nothing is perfect. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest strength you'll ever show is the choice to smile, not because life is easy, but because you are brave enough to keep showing up for it. So walk forward, not waiting for the storm to pass, but carrying your umbrella, your hope, and your joy with you. Because even in the hardest seasons, you still have the power to create light. And that, my friend, is worth fighting for. We often think happiness is something we either have or we don't, like luck or talent. But happiness isn't an accident. It's a skill. It's a muscle you can strengthen over time, even when life feels heavy. Think about physical exercise. The first time you try to lift a weight, it feels awkward, maybe even impossible. Your muscles are weak, your form is shaky, and you wonder if it's even worth the effort. But the more you show up, the stronger you get. You don't suddenly become stronger. You train yourself into strength with ourselves. Happiness works the same way. In the beginning, reaching for joy in the middle of pain might feel forced or unnatural. Smiling might feel like work. Gratitude might feel like a stretch. But every time you do it, every time you choose to look for what's good instead of what's missing, you're training your mind to find light in the darkness. This doesn't mean you ignore your struggles. It means you refuse to let them be your only focus. You're rewiring your thoughts, selves, building emotional stamina, and teaching yourself that even on the hardest days, there is still something worth noticing, something worth holding on to. Over time, happiness becomes less of a push and more of a habit. You have to connect with ourselves. You won't have to fight as hard for it because your heart will be conditioned to look for it. And when the next storm comes, and you'll be ready, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. The beauty of this muscle is that anyone can build it. No special background, no perfect circumstances required. Just the willingness to practice joy, even when it doesn't come naturally. And the more you practice, the more you'll realize happiness was never out of reach. It was something you could grow from the inside out all along. We often believe we have to wait until we're Healed before we can be happy. We think joy belongs to the version of us who has already made peace with the past, processed every hurt, and found closure in every chapter. But that belief keeps us holding our breath for a day that may never arrive in the way we imagine. The truth is, with ourselves, you don't have to be fully healed to smile. You don't have to have all the answers before you let yourself laugh. Healing and happiness are not two separate journeys. They can happen side by side. Some days, your happiness might feel small, a fleeting moment when you forget the pain, a deep breath that feels lighter than the last, a sunset that catches you off guard. Those moments matter. They are not signs that you're ignoring your wounds. They are signs that you're living through them. Healing isn't a straight road. Some days you'll feel like you're moving forward, elves. Other days you might feel like you're right back where you started. But every moment of happiness you allow yourself in the middle of that process is a reminder that you are more than your pain. You ourselves, you are capable of joy, still worthy of beauty, still allowed to live fully even while you are mending. If you eck with ourselves, if you wait for every fade before you start enjoying life again, you'll miss so much of what makes life worth living. So let the two walk together. Your healing in one hand, your happiness in the other. That's not weakness. That's the kind of strength that builds a life worth fighting for.